bonsoir, je m'appelle Janicki. Maintenant, je travaille comme data journalist à l'AFP. Et avant, j'étais indépendante, spécialisée dans les visualisations de données, développeur de visualisation de données et un consultant de données. Mais je vais présenter en anglais parce que c'est beaucoup plus fluide pour moi et pour vous. Mais n'hésitez pas si vous avez des questions et j'essaie de parler très lentement. Okay. So I'm going to focus on interactivity and data visualization and graphics. I'll go over some of the advantages, but I'll also talk about why sometimes it's better to go with static graphics. Okay, so just get this out of the way. So it's not like I don't like static graphics. They're still really powerful. They're great. I work with them every day at AFP. They can be more simple and easier to understand, more accessible to different audiences. You're able to focus on the main message. You have more control over the storytelling. You don't have to worry about device compatibility. And there are still ways of incorporating complexity. So for example, here, I'm showing a small multiple map of 2 timestamps. So this way it's good for comparison. I'm showing the distance to nearest abortion clinic by county in the US before and after the abortion ban. And here you can clearly see in the states that have full abortion ban that the distances have increased by a lot. But so it's already good on its own, but with interactivity, you can add a lot more. So it really depends on your audience. So with interactivity, this can be a good overview, but you can get, for example, statewide or county-wide statistics. Like you can even get maybe the county that has the nearest abortion clinic. So I'm going to focus on interactivity in the rest of the presentation. So I've worked with a lot of interactive graphics throughout my whole career, and this is just kind of my way of organizing some of the work I've done. So you have like standalone data visualizations that you can essentially interact with. Then you have longer form web-based storytelling, web-based stories that has more of a linear flow. Then user-driven stories, where essentially you have a lot of different parameters, and depending what the user chooses, what you see on the page will change. And at the end, it's stories that are longer, where you can explore the full data set. So a lot of the advantages of interactivity come from it's more exploratory and it's more immersive natures. So I'll first focus on how it can help communicate more complex information. So sometimes when I'm working with static graphics, I find that it limits the amount and the complexity of the information I can show. And as a reader and audience myself, I often like to dig deeper. And so it's nice to provide an option. So interactivity can help uncover insights and relationships that are not necessarily available or apparent in static graphics. It also can make larger data sets more manageable. So for example, this is a graphic I made showing the Oscar nominees this year and across 5 categories and how they're linked to other nominees through film nominations. Est-ce que vous pouvez... Oh, it's good? Oh, okay. So it's already a good graphic on its own with a lot of insights, but by adding tooltips, the user can get more information. And you can also add either zooming, brushing, or filtering. And in this case, I use filtering. Maybe I'll play it again. Nope. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can use filtering, so you can help the user focus their attention on very specific parts of the data, and that way they can potentially get more specific insights. So for example, here you can see only the best actress and the best actors, as opposed to the whole data set. oops, okay, well, this is already playing. So similarly, animations are also a good option to make larger data sets more manageable. It's really good for seeing trends over time, so especially if your data have temporal nature. In this visualization, I'm showing Taiwan's population over time. And in 1950, it's a very young population. And by using animation, I show that it's aging over time. And because I'm using animation, I can show the years, like year by year data and the full data set instead of just showing snapshots. And you can potentially see more details of the dynamic. Another way, interactivity can also help better understand data by providing multiple viewpoints of the data. So in this case, I'm showing different views of the data by showing different hierarchical groupings. It's a data set on Taiwan's Olympic medals. So here I'm showing first by medal count, then by year, then by the sport, and finally by gender. Another way that's similar to see different viewpoints of the data is sorting by different properties. And that can potentially lead to different insights. So this is a very simple visualization I made of the mango varieties of Taiwan. And you can either sort by size or sweetness, so you can find easily the sweetest or the biggest mangoes. Another advantage of interactivity comes from its transparency and trust, and that's related to you being able to explore the data. So with interactivity, the user can access, explore, or view the full data set sometimes, and that allows the user to kind of fact check you. So if something doesn't look right, they can just check on their own. And that leads to more transparency and trust. And I find that is really important because data can be easily manipulated, and sometimes we also make mistakes. So it's nice to give user this power. This is a piece I made on parrots and their threats. I'm showing all 400 species of parrots as individual circles throughout the story, and the user is able to hover over them to get more specific information, like on the species, the family, or their conservation status. Interactivity also can promote more active engagement, and that could lead to potentially more information retention and, information retention. Oops, wrong way. So sometimes interactive graphics can be designed with the user interaction in mind. So it allows the user to control the pace and the direction of the exploration. And sometimes it can also feel more like living an experience than just passively reading a story, which can lead to more engagement and potentially more satisfaction. So this is a piece on bubble tea in Taiwan, and we designed it so the user can feel like they're actually ordering bubble tea. So it's the same process. So you order a base drink, and then you can pick your toppings, and then choose the sugar and the temperature, and if you want a bag or a straw, and at the end you end up with your own drink. And this is one I just finished. Because there are so many climate stories around, I wanted to do something a bit different, so I also decided to do a user-driven story. So you can choose your birth year, another famous person to compare with, and a climate scenario. Then you can see your climate stripes compared year to year from when you're at 0 to when you're 100. So the temperature anomaly each year. And at the end, you can download your own climate stripe given a scenario, and also explore further if you wanted to see further insights. And finally, interactive stories on the web have the potential to be more immersive. And this way, you can create more emotional connection with the user. For example, so interactions can also be, in this case, scroll-based animations. So this is a piece I made with Reuters on the extinction crisis. And I wanted to create an emotional connection. So at first, I wanted to show these, they're called endlings, which are the last individuals of a species. And whenever they disappear, essentially the whole species go extinct. So when I start the piece like this, I feel like you can create more of an emotional connection with the reader, and that can get them to care more about the topic. Okay, so those are all the reasons why I really love interactives, but there's always things to consider before you decide if you want to work on an interactive or a static graphic. And it really depends on your goal and your audience. So, and also all these parameters. It takes a lot more time and very specialized expertise. And you have to worry about device compatibility across browsers and then mobile, tablet, and desktop. The information is more complex, so it might not always be the best option if you want to reach a broader audience. And our attention spans are also kind of getting worse these days, so you have to consider that, as not everyone will interact with it. So these are all the things that you can consider if you want to make an interactive graphic. And so that's it. If you have any questions, I can try to answer in French, but otherwise Francois will help translate.